Every year, millions of people learn to code in the hopes of using those coding skills to make money, but most of them fail miserably because they go about it in the completely wrong way. Firstly, most people lack the right idea that actually solves a problem for someone else. And secondly, even if they have the right idea, they fall short because they lack distribution. In this video, I will show you step by step one method that you can overcome these problems, and that is by building an app that acts as a plugin for an existing business owner's website. The point is that you have someone with an existing website where they run a business or something like that, but they have problems that someone with the coding skills could come in and solve for them, and this is where you come in. And this sounds good in theory, but you will run into a few issues. First of all, how do you find the right idea that someone is actually willing to pay for? Number two, how do you actually practically code something like this that other people can easily integrate into their websites? And number three, how can you get this app visible to many potential clients? So in this video, I'm going to show you first of all how you can get good ideas fast, and number two, how to build an app like this using Wix Studio, who are the paid sponsor of this video, and number three, how you can seamlessly sell your app within the Wix app market to thousands of website owners without needing to advertise it yourself. So first, let's talk about how to get the right idea for your coding business. Now, this applies to any kind of business you're building. In this video, we're just using this website extension as an example, but in general, any business idea, and I can tell this as someone who has started and is affiliated with multiple businesses that make a lot of money. First of all, it needs to solve some kind of a problem. It's particularly a thing among programmers that programmers tend to focus more on the technical aspect, when the technical aspect is really not what is going to sell your application. It is the problem that you are solving for someone. And you can find these problems either through personal experience amongst things that you are familiar with. For example, if I was starting a business with coding, as I am doing right now, for example, I can solve problems for YouTubers. Why? Because I am a YouTuber and I understand the problems of YouTubers. And in fact, this is exactly the app that we are building right now with another YouTuber. If you don't have experience in many fields, the other way is to speak to people in that field and find out the problems that they actually had. And number two, this solution that you created for this problem should be easy to understand. It should be immediately easy for someone to see how exactly this is going to help them. And number three is that it should be easy and quick to build. You don't want to make the mistake of building something for 2 years only to find out that no one wants it. So once you have an idea that matches this criteria, and I'll also show you exactly how you can find ideas that people have already requested in a moment, your next question will be, how do you practically build this? So in this video, we're talking about taking business owners who have existing problems. And by the way, business owners are usually the best clientele to target because they're usually willing to pay a lot more than end users. And once you find a problem they have, the way you can solve especially problem 3 of being able to quickly build it is by using Wix Studio to have built-in tools that literally are designed to allow anyone to go and build apps that integrate directly into existing business owners' websites. And today we are focusing specifically on their development features. And there's 3 primary reasons why building an app using Wix Studio is such a great opportunity. Number one, it is very easy to get started. With Wix Studio, you can get started with templates. You can build using either Wix Blocks, which is their drag and drop editor, or the Wix CLI, or even self-host your application with your own tech stack. Number two, the development experience is very nice. You can develop apps using Wix's SDKs or APIs, and these are all designed such that even beginners can do this very easily. And number three is the Wix app market. The advantage with Wix Studio is that Wix is also a website builder, and Wix and Wix Studio have hundreds of millions of users around the world, which allows them to build these app development tools such that they are automatically very easy to integrate into any Wix site. So you automatically get access to more than 278 million users in the Wix app market with no need for marketing on your part. So you can mostly just focus on the development and choosing the right idea. So I'll now show you an example on how to build a Wix app. Now the aim here is just to show you the process so you get an idea of what this is like, and then what you can do is go and find ideas and start coding up these apps. I recommend just trying as many ideas as possible, publishing them in the market, which I'll also show you after this code tutorial on how to do that, and then eventually, hopefully, one of them is going to stick. To get started, we will go to wix.com/studio/developers, and here you can see their landing page. They have a bunch of different developer features. There's so many things you can do with it, but what I want to focus on is over here, app development, build and monetize full stack apps. That is what we're doing today. So we're going to click on here, explore app development, and then over here, I'm gonna click on start developing. So this is gonna take me to my Wix Studio dashboard. If you don't have an account, it's probably gonna ask you to create an account and things like this. What we are going to do next is go to this quick start tutorial that they have in their documentation, which you find at dev.wix.com/docs, and I will leave this full URL down below in the description. To get started, we will open up our terminal in the folder in which we're going to create this application. First thing I'm going to do is run this command over here, npm create @wix/app@latest. And what that is going to do is automatically create for me a Wix application. I'm going to click Y to proceed, and then I can either create a new Wix app or add an extension to an existing app. In this case, we're creating a new one. I will click enter. Then we can either start from scratch or from a template. By the way, they have a lot of very nice templates that I've used many times in the past when I'm building something that's sort of similar to a template they have. So I recommend you check them out. But for example purposes, we will just create a basic app right there. We'll give it a name. And in this example, we're going to build a simple app that allows a Wix store owner, so someone who has an e-commerce website built by Wix, to have a little widget that shows the users how many units of that product are in stock. This is very useful for anyone who has a store, because urgency, like creating urgency and showing, oh, there's only 5 units left, is going to induce people to buy. So it's going to be easy to show store owner how this could make them more money. So for name, we'll just add stock counter, for example, and then folder name, stock counter, that's fine. And it's gonna generate my files for me over a couple of minutes over here. All right, and it looks like that has worked. So what I will now do is go to my code editor. We'll make that window a bit smaller and open up this folder. So we can see that we now have some automatically generated files and folders over here. We don't need to worry too much about this. What I'm going to do next is run a different command called npm run generate. This is going to allow me to choose the type of app that I am building. There's many different ones. You can see the docs for all the different options. We can either make a dashboard application, and I'll maybe make different videos on some examples of that. But what we're interested in is over here on site, either a site widget, embedded scripts, or site plugins. In this case, we're building a site plugin because this is going to be an actual plugin that's going to be placed onto the website so that the viewers of the website can see it. So we'll click on enter add site plugin, and it's going to generate us some options. So over here, it's going to ask for us for a Wix app to view its plugin slots. So I'm going to select Wix stores. So this is essentially what type of website are you going to be making this plugin for. With Wix, you can make store website, you can make event websites, and you can essentially create plugins for all these different kinds of solutions that Wix offers for their website creators. So we're going to select Wix stores because we're interested in making one for store owners. And then you're going to select the page to which we would like to put this plugin on the website. And in this particular instance, we're going to scroll down to product page details. I'll just select 5, for example. And would you like to set Wix stores as a requirement? Yes, it's going to be required in order for this to work. I'll just call it stock counter app like that. And the folder is going to be that, and it's going to auto generate us now under src this folder called site, and under plugins, custom elements, stock counter app, we're going to see all of this. Just to run through this quickly, panel, we don't really need to worry about here. We have plugin.json that's going to include just details around our application. So if you want to, for example, change the slot where this plugin can be placed, you can do that over here. And on and inside of the docs of Wix Studio, you can find all of these IDs and everything if you want to change this placement over here. And then we're going to have the name and everything like that. Actually, this should probably be something like stock counter app like that. And now the main file we're interested in is this one called plugin.tsx. This is actually where we're going to be editing the actual plugin that ends up going onto the website. We just have some placeholder code over here just to make sure that this works. We're going to run npm run dev. And what it's then going to ask me is for a development site. Now over here, you're either going to create a new development site. If you don't have any yet, chances are if this is the first time you're doing it, that's what you're going to do. I have so many that I've exceeded the maximum amount. So I'm just going to choose one of these existing development sites for these example purposes. And then after that, it's going to ask me to install it on the website and things like this. And finally, I'm going to see something like this. and I'm going to click on E for editor. It's going to open up this test website for me on the Wix website editor. I've already added some things here just to make this quicker. For you, if you're making a new one, what you will first have to do is go to add apps, and then you're gonna need to find Wix stores and install it on the test website. So it's possible for us to add that plugin. What I'm then going to do is I'm gonna go to the product page, which is gonna be the page in which I am actually able to place this plugin. And over here, if I click here on plugins, and over here, we can see the stock counter app over here. So I'm going to click on add over here. I'm going to need to replace because I had a previous plugin over here. And as we can see, we now see our custom plugin that is going to be plugged into the product websites on this particular slot. And now we can start coding up our custom logic over here. So instead of the Wix docs, when you click on APIs and SDKs and then SDK, you'll be able to see the full docs for the JavaScript SDK that Wix has with all the different APIs and tools and things like this that you can use as a developer. For our purposes, what we're going to need access to is the available inventory of each product for that Wix owner. And luckily for us, over here in, I believe, backend modules and stores, we have access to us this inventory API. So we're going to click on introduction over here to see how this works. What we'll have to do is install npm install at Wix stores to get access to this. So we'll just get that running over there. We're going to end the test run. And while we'll do that, we can see a lot of these different functions that we have access to. What we're probably going to need is something that allows us to list the inventory for all of the available products in our store. And that would happen using this query inventory function over here. So basically the website owner would have access to a backend for the website that looks something like this, where you have all of these different products, and then they're going to have the inventory and everything like this. So what we're simply doing is using an API where our app is accessing this inventory directly using our JavaScript code. So once this is installed, what we can do is import inventory from Wix/stores. And what I'm going to do then is create a function called get inventory stock that takes as a parameter product ID, that is of type string, and then we will create a variable called inventory that's going to be equal to inventory dot query inventory. And we will then look at the docs to see how I'm supposed to use this. So it's going to take this options object as a parameter. And when we look here, we can see that options has child properties of query, has information about paging, filters, sorting. All right, so inside over here, we should have an object that has a query that is equal to another object where I have, let's say, a filter such that, and that should be a string. So I'm make that JSON stringify from an object that has product ID be equal to, which I indicate by having a string with $eq to the product ID that was given to me as a parameter. And that is going to be an async function. So I'm going to have to await. And of course, I cannot have that be the same name as our Wix stores inventory over there. I'll just return inventory stock instead, and that should be closed. And this function should also be async, like that. So what that will return is return a list of inventory items given the provided paging, sorting, and filtering, which will look something like this. So we're going to have a list that has inventory items, metadata, and total results. We don't care about that. We care about inventory items. So we'll return inventory stock dot inventory items, and it should have one result. So we will take the first one from the list. And from that, what I'm interested in is the total stock. So the product might have different variants. So over here in variants, it's going to have a list of all the inventory variants, which is in, and all of those items are in turn going to have this quantity over here, as well as the in stock to determine whether it is in stock or not. And first of all, we will just save this as a variable product product inventory. And then we will ask our AI to make a reduce function to get total stock from product inventory dot variance dot quantity. So product inventory dot variance dot reduce the accumulator and the variant, which is going to be equal to accumulator plus variant dot quantity. We'll just make this easier to read by making it into a new line. Or if there is no quantity, we will just make it 0 because it might not be in stock at all. And then we will return accumulator. Okay, like that, it should work. And then we will return total stock. All right, so that should be our function that gets us the inventory stock for the given item. We will now go to custom element and make a use effect to run this get inventory stock with the product ID, which we will need to get from somewhere. And then after that, we will have some state with stock, and we will set this stock to be the stock that we get from this function. And this custom element should take product ID as a prop, and use effect should be imported. And we will remove all this placeholder code. And the thing about these plugins for product pages is that it specifically gives you access to this product ID, which it seems like I have misspelled, product ID, as a parameter inside of this custom element. So that is what we're able to use. And finally, we will now create just an H2 with stock equal to what is the stock available. And then you can write something like only this many items left, hurry, which would then induce people to buy more and things like this. Now, the thing is, I think when we run this in our dev side, we will not be able to see this because I believe these kinds of features only work properly once this is published. So if we go to one of the product pages, it will show this over here, but it's going to show 0. And that could also be because we don't yet have any inventory for our products. So if we go to catalog, and by default, these don't have a specific inventory. But for example, if we go over here into inventory and shipping, and then we can give it, let's say 10 items in inventory. But this brings us nicely to how do you actually publish this on the Wix app market. So what we're going to have to do is go and end this test run, go and run npm run build. What that is going to do is build a new production version of our application. And then of that, we will run npm run create dash version, which is going to then hopefully publish that into the app market, or at least make it ready for it. We're going to click Y, major update. And it looks like there are some blockers that prevent us from submitting this for review. We will go to our Wix developers dashboard over here at manage.wix.com/studio/custom-apps. And then we will find our application over here. We will go to dashboard, and then over here to submit this, we would need to click on submit app down here, but it's not going to allow me to do that yet because I have these blockers that I need to fix first. So we have all these things here, like add contact info, add app icon, app teaser, everything like this. So you're going to have to go ahead and do this. So I'm going to go and fill all of this up. It's going to be very easy. You just go through it. And then after that on the screen, I'm going to show you what happens. So it's going to allow me to click on submit app. Going to be able to add pricing and things like this, and then if everything goes through, it's going to be listed on the Wix app market for your customers to buy. So this is obviously only one way for you to build a monetizable app, but by using Wix Studio's infrastructure, you can not only build this extremely quickly and also find ideas quickly, because you have this page over here that has commonly requested app ideas by actual Wix users. So you can just go and choose one of these ideas to have a pretty proven demand for it. Obviously, nothing is guaranteed. And then after that, it is very easy for you to list it on the app market for someone to buy it. Now, this is not a guaranteed hack to make money or anything like that, but something that you can start doing on your free time if you want to start making some extra income with your coding skills. With that said, thank you again for Wix Studio for sponsoring this video. If you want to see another tutorial where I use some of other Wix Studio's developer features to build a monetizable website from scratch, you can watch this video right here. So watch that video next, and I will see you in the next one.